Campus, my next guest is a professor at UCLA in communications, was the editor-at-large at the LA Times, and is an all-around great guy. Or so they say. I think we'll find out. Please help me in welcoming Professor Jim Newton.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Jim, James? Jim. All right, Jimmy. So, why UCLA? Why teach here?
Well, I've been teaching here for several years, part-time while working at the paper. Came over here a few years back. I was actually doing research at the university for a book, and while I was here, also working as a senior fellow. Just picked up this ethics and journalism class that you've taken, and I've been teaching ever since.
Journalism. You'd worked at the LA Times, correct?
Correct.
And you were editor-at-large?
Yeah, I had a bunch of titles there over the years. My last title was editor-at-large. I was also a columnist for the paper. Before that, I was a reporter, a bureau chief. I was the editor of the editorial pages for a couple of years. So I did a lot of different things. I was there for 25 years, so I had time to do a lot. Yeah.
Wow, 25 years on the beat.
Just a little.
So let me ask you, is it as bad as they say?
Which? The LA Times or the what I covered?
I mean, what did you find out? You know, it could be LA County, it could be LA Times.
Well, you know, I covered the LAPD at a really low moment in its history. I came on to cover the LAPD right as the King beating had
Just the Rodney King
riots.
riots, yeah.
So I covered the trial, federal trial of the officers that beat King. It was a pretty messed up place in those days. In fact, I would say one of the things one of the most heartening things I've seen in my time as a reporter is the transformation that's occurred at LAPD. I mean, it's still got its issues for sure, but it is a vastly more professional and conscientious place than the one that I found in the early 90s.
Huh. Now, what do you think is attributed to that? Do you think it was the change in mayor, change in police chief, culture change?
Well, I think a lot of things contributed. The Christopher Commission, which analyzed the department after the King beating, I think is what really set it on the right course, recommended a whole series of reforms for the department, term limit for the chief too, which is a big development. So I think the Christopher Commission sort of started the ball rolling. A couple of very serious mayors, Dick Reardon did a very good job building up the department. Villaraigosa and Hahn both did a fairly good job, I think, in enforcing reforms to improve the department. You know, I think they had a series of fairly good chiefs. Willie Williams, not such a great chief in my view, but his successors, Bernard Parks, Bill Bratton, and now Charlie Beck, all quality people who did a good job. I think the press had a fairly significant role in it too. I mean, the public demand for change at the department was significant, and the press we took very seriously at the Times our mandate to hold the police department accountable. So I think a lot of things went into it, and it has gotten better.
So we'll make sure, is Williams, was that?
Yeah, Willie Williams, he was the first chief after Darrell Gates. He had a lot of things that made it difficult for him. He was the first African-American chief of the department, first outsider in a very long time, if ever, to run the department. I think he was very good at one thing, which is he helped kind of the public re-embrace the department. He felt different. He felt from the fact that he came from Philadelphia outside was helpful. But he just never really took full command of the place. And so I don't view him as a successful chief.
Well, we'll make sure he doesn't see this.
That's right. Please shut him off if you will, right?
None of that.
Yeah, I haven't talked to him in years, but I assume he's not watching.
We hope so. Everybody else watch, though. We need that. We need that to keep going. So,